Hi everyone, I'm Mackenzie and I'm a teacher with the Cloud Project. Today I'll be talking to you about aquatic ecosystems. Let's dive in. For this lesson, you will need a pen or a pencil, a notebook to write your thoughts in, some colorful markers, and as always, your learning mindset. Here are the questions we'll cover in this lesson. First, what are ocean ecosystems? What makes up an ocean ecosystem? Next, what are different types of ecosystems? Also, what are lake ecosystems? What makes up a lake ecosystem? Then we will cover more broad range topics. So, how is climate change affecting ocean ecosystems and their animals? And finally, what are some small things we can do to help ecosystems against climate change? Let's first understand what an aquatic ecosystem is. An aquatic ecosystem is a type of ecosystem within an aquatic environment that contains many organisms that depend on each other. Today, we'll focus on two types of aquatic ecosystems, the ocean and the lakes. There are many types of aquatic ecosystems. One of them is the ocean ecosystem, which can be categorized as temperate, tropical, or polar. The three types are shown in the images. Within these types of ecosystems, there are varying depths such as open ocean, deep sea, or coastal marine. Each type of area contains photoautotrophs, herbivores, carnivores, and predators, which all help facilitate the food chain. We are going to be focusing on the Arctic because this is the most often affected by global warming. In the Arctic, there are many types of organisms, but we are going to focus on a small group that helps sustain the food web: seals, polar bears, walruses, and phytoplankton. There are many species of seals, such as the ones listed here, and they spend at least some point in their lives in the Arctic. Polar bears are large bears that also live here. For the walruses, there are two subspecies, which are the Atlantic and the Pacific. They both live in cold climates and shallow water. Finally, phytoplankton are small organisms that support the food chain because it is the food source of the smaller organisms such as shrimp. The phytoplankton do photosynthesis to produce organic matter. Now, transitioning into the lake ecosystem. Here are the key factors that determine it. It has extremely shallow, warm water, except for a few places in the world. It includes biotic and abiotic elements that all interact together, and it has high levels of dissolved oxygen because there are a lot of plants which put oxygen into the waters. In the lake, there are four predominant organism groups: algae, salmon, bass, and mollusks. Most of these are smaller organisms ranging from plants to large fish. The algae are the base for all aquatic ecosystems, and they provide energy for all organisms in the food web, such as the bass. The salmon are a key species which have been used to reduce alewife, an invasive type of fish, and can shape habitats. Bass is at the top of the list, and they are predators, and they are also a keystone species which determines the health of the ecosystem. Finally, mollusks are a group of invertebrates that include clams and snails and shape the ecosystem by providing food and habitats to other organisms. As you might have guessed, the aquatic food web focuses on four main levels: the producers, the consumers, and the predators, and the scavengers. The producers make food from the sun, providing the base energy source for the food web. The consumers then eat the producers, which are in turn eaten by the larger predators. Finally, scavengers eat the dead material that sinks to the bottom of the ecosystem, recycling the nutrients. So, how does climate change affect these aquatic ecosystems? As the Earth heats, the Arctic ice starts to melt, and it causes mammals and other organisms to struggle due to their dependency on ice. Next, the increase of acidity in the ocean is causing creatures such as shellfish and coral, as they are not able to build their shells properly. Next, climate change increases the temperature of freshwater streams, which reduces the amount of water in streams and makes salmon more vulnerable to predators. So, how can we help? One way is something you have already done or heard of before, reducing your emissions. If we all do small things like biking and walking instead of driving, and if we start turning off lights around our house, we can reduce CO2 emissions, which reduces the worsening of climate change. Next is to participate in trash cleanups to keep aquatic ecosystems clean. Finally, sustainable fishing practices. Learn where your seafood comes from and make sure you are getting your food from the right places. Good job on the lesson today. Here's a quiz to help you review the material we covered today. Pause the video and see if you can answer these questions in your scientific notebook. Great job! Now let's move on to the activity. Design your own ocean ecosystem with all the important aspects such as algae, fish, predators, etc. Name it whatever you'd like. Make sure to add organisms so that the food chain makes sense and label it as an ocean or a lake ecosystem. Pause the video again and come back when you're done. You got this. That's all for today, folks. I hope you learned a lot about aquatic ecosystems and their details. Thank you for listening, and we hope you had fun during this lesson. If you did, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the Cloud Project. See you next time!